The backstage arguments between Shawn Michaels and Grayson Waller continue on NXT, with some speculating that Shawn Michaels could come out of retirement to face Waller WrestleMania weekend. We've got an update on Lita and Trish Stratus and why their return to Raw this week was scrapped. Also a rumour killer on Sami Zayn possibly not winning the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. We've got the ratings for this past week's edition of Monday Night Raw. Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley once again caused mayhem and havoc for Rey Mysterio this time, while he was on a Valentine's Day date with his wife. Jinder Mahal is set to receive an NXT Championship shot soon. Meiko Satomura returns to NXT and will have an NXT Women's Championship match very soon. And the WrestleMania Goes Hollywood movie parody trailers are set to return. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrest News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. And let's start off talking a little bit about NXT. We don't talk that much about NXT anymore because there's not really all that much going on in WWE's developmental territory. But one story certainly is between Shawn Michaels and Grayson Waller. Now, Grayson Waller was suspended from NXT for a week following his confrontation with WWE Hall of Famer and Senior Vice President of Talent Development Creative Shawn Michaels following his Vengeance Day loss to Bron Breakker. Waller had to be escorted out of the room by NXT coach Matt Bloom, who Waller referred to as A-Train, a name that Bloom worked under during the mid-2000s in WWE. While this is likely a result of a storyline, Waller has not backed off from his trash-talking his current boss. Appearing on Real Radio Monsters, Waller addressed his thoughts prior to NXT last night on the Heartbreak Kid, changing since he retired and took on this current position in NXT. Quote, Shawn's not the same anymore, Waller said. He's corporate now. Nah. He's a bit of a corporate stooge now, and he didn't like what I said, and now I have been suspended. When it was brought up that Michaels, who won multiple world championships throughout his lengthy career, is a legend, Waller was quick to put that label in the past tense, saying Michaels was a legend. Despite his negative thoughts and feelings about Michaels now, Waller revealed that his disdain towards him didn't always exist. Quote, this is the saddest thing. My hero growing up was Shawn Michaels. That was the guy I wanted to be, and I guess they always say never meet your idols, and I think this is a perfect encapsulation of that. Waller may be expressing unrest over Michaels not being who he used to be. However, he believes he seemingly figured out why Michaels is acting the way he is and why he suspended Waller. Quote, I think Shawn is struggling right now, dealing with the fact I am who he used to be, Waller said. He's not that anymore. Now, those comments certainly were enough, but as we got into NXT last night, this storyline blew up even more. Grayson Waller, of course, made his return to NXT last night after being suspended following the Vengeance Day post-show media call. In his return match, Waller lost to Tyler Bate. Waller tried to win the match by holding the ropes, but the referee caught it before he could get the 3 count. That didn't sit well with Waller, whose frustration boiled over in response to the referee's call. After his loss, Waller confronted Senior Vice President of Talent Development Creative Shawn Michaels, which was the reason behind his last suspension. Michaels didn't back down and shouted back at Waller. During the confrontation, Waller kept calling Michaels a suit, while Michaels fired back and told Matt Bloom to get Waller out of the backstage area because he was out of control. The scene ended with Michaels upset and yelling, "Cut to commercial." Waller was forced to leave the arena. He then had a few choice words to Michael while he was being escorted out, saying, quote, Shawn Michaels doesn't even have the respect to let me get changed. He's kicking me out the building. I'm the biggest star in NXT. Shawn should be on his knees saying, thank you for my presence. You're a hypocrite, Shawn. You're a hypocrite. HBK doesn't exist anymore. You suit, you stooge. Grayson Waller runs this. Now, it appears that this ongoing feud with Waller and Michaels is not going to be finished anytime soon. Some are speculating that Michaels may indeed decide to return to the ring one final time to face off against the NXT star. Of course, Michaels' last official match was the infamous Crown Jewel Tag Team match in 2018, featuring D-Generation X going up against the Brothers of Destruction. Again, whether or not this will lead to a match, I don't know. Some are speculating it could lead to Michaels selecting an opponent to face Waller at Stand and Deliver WrestleMania week, which could be the debuting Dragon Lee, possibly. But some are suggesting Michaels might have a WrestleMania match, an NXT WrestleMania match against Grayson Waller. Anything's possible. Speaking of Hall of Famers returning, Lita and Trish Stratus. What's going on with them? Well, there's been an update on speculation that one WWE legend was returning to kick off a program with current stars. Of course, last week on Raw, Lita made her return to help Becky Lynch defeat Bayley in the main event in a steel cage match. Interestingly, Sean Ross Sapp Fightful pointed out that Lita's return had been reported hours earlier by the new WRKD wrestling account on Twitter. The account also had another scoop to share that Lita was the first to return, with Trish Stratus expected the following week to set up a major angle moving forward. Becky Lynch teaming with Lita and Trish to take on Bayley and Dakota Kai and Io Sky at Elimination Chamber. Of course, we now know, it being Wednesday the 15th of February, that this past Monday on Raw, Trish Stratus, she didn't show up. And in a new update, the account now notes that there has been a change of plans. The account wrote, quote, "Hate to backtrack on our second tweet ever, but plans have changed due to Dakota's injury and Trish won't be at Raw. However, she is absolutely on her way soon, and we can share that she will be around for a lengthy program. She definitely won't be in a role most expect," which is certainly curious and certainly vague. There could be a situation whereby, again, a match, maybe that match from Elimination Chamber could get moved to WrestleMania. We could see Becky Lynch teaming up with Trish Stratus and Lita to go up against Damage Control. That's possible, but at the same time, it does appear that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, they're going to be going after the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. So we might have a situation where come WrestleMania, there might be multiple teams going after the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Again, it's just speculation, but the entire storyline hasn't been scrapped, but Trish's appearance on Raw has been. It could happen at Elimination Chamber. It is in Canada after all, so I suppose that could and would make sense. Speaking of Elimination Chamber, Sami Zayn. Is he going to win the championship? Probably not. But a rumor killer has emerged on Sami Zayn ahead of his WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match at Elimination Chamber this weekend. At the February 18 Premium Live events, the former honorary Uso will challenge for Roman Reigns' gold after turning on the Tribal Chief at the Royal Rumble. After many called for this rivalry to conclude with Zayn defeating Reigns at WrestleMania 39, a report indicated that WWE's relationship with Saudi Arabia and possibly the Saudi PIF purchasing WWE in the future could potentially be a factor in the plans for Zayn. As Zayn hasn't competed on any of the WWE Saudi Arabia events since the partnership began back in 2018 due to his Syrian descent, it was speculated that WWE wouldn't put the title on Zayn, as the top champion usually competes at the Saudi shows. After a Twitter user asked Dave Meltzer if plans for the world title match have been affected by WWE's plans to go to the country Zayn is not allowed to perform in, Meltzer promised that this wasn't the case, writing, quote, "Whatever decision has been made, this has nothing to do with it." Promise. A Dave Meltzer promise. Can you trust it? Well, the competitor who walks out of Elimination Chamber with the gold will defend the title against Royal Rumble winner Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39 in April. Some have speculated that Reigns versus Zayn versus Rhodes in a triple threat match will be announced following Rhodes' segment with Zayn on the February 13 edition of Monday Night Raw. Again, that's just speculation at this point, but as far as Saudi having an influence on the outcome of this title match, according to Meltzer, that's not the case. Speaking of Zayn and Rhodes, of course, they were in a big segment on Raw. We're going to get a little bit more details on that in just a second. But in terms of the overall ratings, well, according to WrestleNomics, the total viewership compared to last week's show was down by 3%. The February 13 episode was watched by 1.812 million viewers on average. 613,000 of the total viewership were aged 18 to 49 for a 0.47 18 to 49 rating. While Raw, according to Showbuzz Daily, ranked first among cable originals for the day, its 18 to 49 viewership is down 15% from last week's 0.55 rating. Raw ranked fourth among broadcast prime time, while it was The Bachelor on ABC that took the prestigious number one spot. This week's episode of Raw was the go-home edition before the WWE Premium Live event Elimination Chamber on Saturday. Raw took place at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Becky Lynch opened the show and wrestled in the main event, along with Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair and Bayley. The match had a stipulation that if Bayley and Lynch won the title, they would go on to the Women's Elimination Chamber match on Saturday, However, it was Belair who got the victory. Also during the show, Cody Rhodes defeated Baron Corbin. He was also in a segment with Sami Zayn, where he gave Zayn a pep talk ahead of his title match at Elimination Chamber against undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns. In addition to that, Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley signed their contract for their match at Elimination Chamber, and the segment ended with Lashley signing and throwing down the contract on top of a beaten down Brock. Now, speaking of this show, and speaking of the Cody Rhodes Sami Zayn segment, which was critically acclaimed, there is becoming increasing evidence of Cody Rhodes being a legitimate needle mover for WWE. Over the past few weeks, the segments involving the American Nightmare have been the most watched quarters of Raw on the USA Network. According to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, the in-ring segment with Sami Zayn Monday was viewed by over 2,080,000 viewers and notched up a 0.53 rating in the 18 to 49 key demographic. As I mentioned, overall, the show averaged a viewership of 1.812 million viewers, so it's just over 200,000 viewers above the average for the entire show. Similarly, Rhodes' critically acclaimed promo exchange with Paul Heyman on the February 6th episode of Raw was watched by over 2 million viewers, 2,027,000 viewers to be specific, at the top of the third hour, where viewership is traditionally lost. In fact, the segment did so well in the ratings that the audience reportedly grew by 11% from the prior quarter, which is very much not the norm for what happens during the show. For context, only the Rhodes, Heyman, and Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley segments garnered over 2 million viewers. As far as YouTube views, which of course is very important nowadays for WWE, Rhodes' segments have regularly been the most watched, with only videos involving Roman Reigns and or Sami Zayn drawing as many eyeballs. Rhodes is also being seen as a legitimate draw for WWE's house shows. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, the ticket sales for several live events in the aftermath of Rhodes' Royal Rumble victory shot up incrementally, especially one show in Columbus, Georgia, where WWE had sold a ton of tickets after announcing Rhodes for the show. Furthermore, Rhodes has reportedly been among WWE's top merchandise movers since making his in-ring return at the Royal Rumble. He is currently the odds-on favorite to dethrone the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania and emerge as the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion at the Showcase of the Immortals. There is belief among fans on social media that the impending victory could catapult Rhodes as the new face of the promotion. Whether or not that happens, we'll have to wait and see, but certainly he's making big money for WWE right now. Speaking of WrestleMania, there is an expectation, isn't there, that Dominic Mysterio will face his father on the grandest stage of them all. Now, certainly, they've been planting a lot of seeds for a long, long time, and the tradition of Dominic Mysterio making his father's life a living hell during a holiday continues. Dominic Mysterio and his mammy, Rhea Ripley, have once again ruined a holiday for Dominic's father, former WWE champion Rey Mysterio, this time crashing Rey's Valentine's Day dinner with his wife. WWE posted a video of the encounter on its official Twitter account. The Judgment Day members arrive at the undisclosed restaurant and proceed to completely walk all over Mysterio's date with his wife, even taking their seats and their waiter and ordering their own meal. While a crowd of fellow diners can only watch on helplessly, the disrespectful display was previewed during last night's episode of Raw, and this is merely the latest holiday that Dominic and Ripley have ruined, having confrontations with Mysterio at both Thanksgiving and Christmas. Of course, Dominic was arrested following the Christmas incident and his short stint in prison, hardening the second-generation star into a steely ex-convict. Mysterio is hell-bent on spoiling Rey's moments, going as far as ruining Rey's entrance in the Royal Rumble and even disrespecting his father's own mask during the Rumble match. Ripley is currently preparing for a big match coming up this Saturday when she'll team with fellow Judgment Day member Finn Balor to face the group's former leader Edge and his wife Beth Phoenix in a mixed tag team match. Dominic, of course, will likely be close by for Balor and Ripley's match at the premium live events in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And once again, as is the case with all of these segments, I would recommend it. Wasn't the only Valentine's Day thing that WWE had planned, though. They actually cancelled one thing. Things can change on a dime in WWE. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, plans were made for a Valentine's Day segment on Raw, with a ton of props reportedly being made for the segment, only for plans to change at the last moment. The segment found itself on the cutting room floor by the time Raw went on the air. There is no word on the reason that caused the segment to be cut. There's no real word as to who was actually in the segment as well. Nevertheless, that was just something, I guess, that can still happen under the Triple H regime. That's anything can get cancelled or changed at a moment's notice for WWE TV. A former WWE champion is challenging for the NXT championship. Not the first time that a former world champion on the main roster is then challenging or even wins the NXT championship. Of course, Dolph Ziggler did it this time last year, but this time now it's Jinder Mahal. There's been an influx of main roster talent on NXT lately, from Apollo Crews to former NXT tag team champions Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, and now NXT champion Bron Breakker is in the sights of a former WWE champion who found his way to Orlando, Florida. Jinder Mahal interrupted Breakker during an update from the reigning champion on this week's edition of NXT. Flanked by Indus Sher, Mahal and Breakker traded barbs, and Mahal demanded a match against the champion on next week's episode. Breakker has held the title since April 2022, where he defeated former champion Dolph Ziggler on the Raw after WrestleMania, and even unified the title with the NXT UK Championship at NXT Worlds Collide in September. Breakker recently defended his title against loudmouth challenger Grayson Waller in a steel cage match at NXT Vengeance Day earlier this month, which was his 12th title defense in his 317-day reign. Of course, Mahal notably shocked the world in 2017 when he defeated Randy Orton at Backlash in Rosemont, Illinois, becoming the WWE champion for 170 days, and told Breakker that experience prepared him better than the current champion for the media and athletic pressures of carrying a brand's main title. Mahal was last seen on NXT programming at New Year's Evil when he was victorious over Julius Creed. It was on that night that Mahal aligned himself with the Indus Sher tag team of Via and Sanga. Mahal is a one-time WWE champion and also a former United States champion. It was also interesting as well because before Bron Breakker started talking, there were some negative chants towards Bron Breakker in the NXT arena at the Performance Center. I saw people making a big deal out of that. I think it's just a case of a vocal minority, and I know people hate using that phrase, but Bron Breakker, the expectation is that after Stand and Deliver, after WrestleMania, he's going up to the main roster, so he's not even going to be around on NXT anytime soon. Speaking of title matches, one has been announced for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, teaming up with NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez, former NXT Women's Champion, UK Women's Champion rather, and Japanese professional wrestling legend Meiko Satomura returned last night on NXT. In a backstage segment before their match, the champ was seen thanking Satomura for her help in the match, a tag team effort against former NXT Women's Tag Team Champions Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Satomura, however, made note to let Perez know she was here for her own reasons, which would eventually be revealed as the show went off the air. After a hard-hitting affair showcasing innovative offense from all involved, it was the team of the legend and the champion who pulled out the victory. When the match and the celebrating was over, Meiko Satomura got on the mic to challenge Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. Perez responded saying it would be her honor. Now, as far as when this match is going to happen, they didn't say, but logically you would probably think Stand and Deliver would probably be the time to do it, but who knows? It could happen at any point, I guess. Finally, it's happening. There was confirmation the other day that the WrestleMania Goes Hollywood movie trailer parodies are returning, and now we've got some more details on them. In the lead up to WrestleMania 21 in 2005, WWE aired several parody trailers featuring WWE stars acting out famous movie scenes. It was previously reported that WWE will air similar segments ahead of WrestleMania 39, which of course will emanate from California's SoFi Stadium on April 1st and April 2nd. WrestleVotes has now taken to Twitter to reveal the planned movie trailers and the stars set to appear in them. The planned list is as follows. Miz and Maurice are going to be doing Top Gun. Sounds interesting. Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day are going to be doing Stranger Things. That excites me because that could be a lot of fun to see. The Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre, get this, are going to be doing the 40-year-old virgin. Now, what scene they're going to be doing in that? I really don't know. Maybe the wax one. That would be great if they did the wax one. I don't know if they will. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are going to be doing Batman and the Joker. As to what film that's going to be in, whether that's Batman 1989, whether that's The Dark Knight, whether that's even the latest one, right? Technically, it was a deleted scene, I guess, maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll have to wait and see. And the Bloodline are going to be doing, get this, Goodfellas. Brilliant. Interestingly, one of the above properties that didn't exist in 2005 is Stranger Things, which funnily enough though is a TV series set in the 1980s. The 40-year-old virgin technically came out after WrestleMania 21, with Mania airing in April, and that movie hit the theaters in September. Cody Rhodes, of course, is slated to compete for the Undisputed Universal Championship at WrestleMania 39, so I don't know if he's going to be involved in these at all, but I'm really excited by them. They have become somewhat iconic, haven't they? So I'm so glad that they're bringing them back. Let me know your thoughts about them in in the comment section below. Which movie parody trailer are you looking forward to the most? I think that Stranger Things one I think is interesting, but of course Goodfellas and The Bloodline, that's going to be a classic, because that's what the kind of The Bloodline is, that kind of sort of mafia sort of style family. It's all about family, isn't it, with The Bloodline? So very exciting stuff. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button. You get your badges, your emojis, members priority chat, and exclusive members only content coming soon. So if you haven't already, click that join button and you can become a member of the WN365 roster. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.